Some myths of homeschooling are: homeschooled children can't get into college, homeschooling families are too religious, homeschool graduates aren't prepared for the real world, and parents aren't qualified to teach their kids. Some facts are 2 million students are currently homeschooled in America. A recent study found that 95% of homeschooled kids that are now adults were glad to be homeschooled. 92% said they believed homeschooling was advantageous to them, and 82% said they would homeschool their own children. Research shows that homeschooled kids do better on standardized tests. Homeschooling is better for self-confidence, while traditional school causes anxiety and low self-esteem. Winston Churchill, Albert Einstein, Mark Twain, and Horace Mann were all homeschooled.
There are a couple things that are needed to make a homeschool program work. Parents with open minds, parents who have a lot of time to devote to children's education and well-being, and also having children exposed to other children as well as other adults to get different perspectives. There are also a couple different options for homeschooling. There's partial homeschooling, where children are mostly schooled in a public education setting, but they also have additional schooling at home with parents. This is really beneficial to children who have exceptionalities, whose schools may not have the programs that are going to be adequate enough to give them the best education possible. There's also mostly homeschooling with extracurricular activities, where again, you're mostly homeschooled. You take the bulk of your coursework at home, but you still have other activities where you do get the exposure to other children and other adults, which is really good for the social development. There's also complete isolation, where you're strictly homeschooled, where you don't get any outside influence from other children or parents. And also another really big one is internet schooling, where you're homeschooled, but you take most of your coursework online. For parents who want to start homeschooling, there are a multitude of resources out there to start children with a homeschooling program, as well as information on each state's legal requirements for homeschooling programs, which also, if you want to check our blog, we'll have links posted to these different websites. Again, there are numerous blogs and websites devoted to helping parents get started with homeschooling, whether it be parents talking to parents or actual organizations devoted to helping parents get started with programs. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that each state has its own regulations on homeschooling, and great attention does need to be paid to each state's requirements. There is a lot of legislation out there trying to protect children from potentially bad circumstances.
I will discuss some of the aspects of socialization for homeschooled children and some of the myths and facts that have been presented about how they are better ready for society because they're being homeschooled or because they're not being homeschooled. There was a study done with a sample of 185 undergraduate college students. 150 had at least 1 to 3 years of homeschooling. 35 had no homeschooling. 64% were homeschooled 10 to 12 years. The objective of the study was to assess the level of communication apprehension identified by college freshmen from 3 different secondary education experiences: homeschooling, public high schools, and private high schools. To fill a gap in the existing literature, the researchers measured correlations between homeschooling and communication apprehension and then compared them to related measures reported by students who attended either public or private high schools. Homeschoolers have borne the unfair burden of a stereotype that this study has addressed. The results of this study support the proposition that homeschooled students suffer communication apprehension to no greater or lesser degree than their peers from traditional high school backgrounds. I also have a study here with Tim Tebow. Everybody knows who Tim Tebow is. Well, Tim Tebow was homeschooled, but he also played for his high school football team. And right now, currently, there are 25 states that do allow homeschooled children to play athletic sports in certain areas in the high school area or other public school areas. There have been other legislation put through, like Kentucky, to have other homeschool children play sports and with the inside the public schools. People that support this say that they are paying the public school money in their taxes and that they should be allowed to play in with the public schools because they're paying the money. But others are saying that, you know, my kid goes to the public school, and because he goes there, he should have first crack of getting on the team, and may have the problem of getting kicked off or not making it because of the homeschool children not being there and doing it.
I'm here to discuss some of the positive and negative aspects of homeschooling. So first with some of the positives. First would be educational freedom. This allows students to dig deeper in a subject they enjoy and learn more about that subject. This is not saying we don't cover the basics, but we're also able to go in deeper and more about the students like. Religious freedom would be the next one. With religion being such a major part of families' lives today, this allows religion to be part of their everyday lives. And last, academic achievement. There's been multiple studies done proving that homeschool children score 15 to 30% more on standardized tests than regular public school children. Next, for some of the negatives. First would be limited school activities. Public schools offer many school activities such as sports, clubs, and better social environment for children. But with homeschooling, there's many other opportunities that families can go about with these activities, such as intramural programs, different clubs, and a lot of schools today are allowing them homeschool children to join these clubs. Another would be financial restraints. Some of the financial restraints would require all the school materials, which can become very expensive. Making sure that one parent could be at home while teaching the students. So that means there's no income coming for that parent. And since public school is free, this could be a major problem with homeschooling.
This ain't a song for the broken hearted.